Welcome to the bye week. I'm your host, Philip Daniels. This episode explores the career of Nico Abeyta, a point guard, a little brother, and a student of the game. Nico Abeyta is the youngest of 5 siblings. Nico's 3 older brothers paved the way for him in sports. Nico's brother David Abeyta explained how Nico grew up in sports learning from his brothers. The Abeytas began to be a sensation of Vail, Arizona. 3 brothers named Anthony, Desi, and David played at a superstar level. Nico, 9 years younger than David, the closest in age, attended every game and sat at the scorekeeper's table through his brothers' careers. Nico began playing basketball at the age of 6.
I was around 6. The basketball was the first organized sport I got to play. It was a group of family, friends, kids, along with their kids, a bunch of random people that to this day I only really know one of them. But from there, man, I fell in love. Played basketball every year after that.
There's an understanding that Nico would be special.
Knowing that dude, Nico is what I'm talking about, is anytime that we were out doing something, he was right there with us. So he picked up dribbling faster. He picked up catching footballs faster. He just had 3 of us always throwing him the ball. And pretty much him just doing everything that we were doing and just always wanting to be there. So from the get-go, everybody always told us, like, he's going to be your best athlete. Absolutely. Just because he had so many brothers that are just pouring into him.
John Floro coached all the Abeyta brothers in Vail, Arizona, either on a travel team or as the Vail High School coach. More importantly, Nico internalized his success. As some doors began to open for him, Coach Floro believed his mental fortitude would propel him on this journey.
He doesn't give up, and that's the key for anyone that makes it to the next level in sports or anywhere really. Is there's always a lot of setbacks, but you have to take it as a learning experience and push forward. And he was always able to do that. Even if he had some failures or some setbacks. He didn't cry about it. He just went right back into the gym and started working. Always wanted to know, what could I do now? What should I work on now? So it's that persistence. He's a persistent kid. He just has a fire for the game. You know, he just really wants to play, loves the game.
Cienega Bobcats. These words rang through Nico's mind every day as he transitioned from basketball to football.
Like, I, for real, lived a Texas high school lifestyle. Town was shut down. Everybody would come watch us play, and it seemed like everybody in the world was coming to watch us. So, it felt important. And when I was finally there in that important time, I didn't get embraced like I thought I would.
David coached Nico's high school team. This pairing led to family members of the other team calling for Nico to be benched. Although Nico excelled at football, his size would cause people to question if he could play. Nico loved football, growing up watching his brothers play, idolizing players such as Nick Foles on University of Arizona and Brian Dawkins of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nico had a decision to make as high school was coming to an end on which sport to truly pursue. He took time away from basketball in hopes of finding more playing time on the gridiron. Nico attended the University of Arizona, pursuing a degree in sports journalism. The feeling of being in the press box created a vision from Nico, the player, and Nico as a journalist.
But from that moment that I left that press box and then went on in my life and got to Atlanta eventually, from that moment there in between, I had chosen basketball.
Nico believed that he still needed to be in the game and needed to find a way to get back out there. Eventually, he found himself back on the hardwood, but now in Atlanta, to recenter life the only way he knew how. One free throw at a time, living with his brother David and his growing family.
I just think Nico was hanging out with the wrong people. There was no way forward at the moment. So I think by offering him to come live out here in Atlanta with me, or even with me and my growing family at the time, I think it was just necessary, knowing that I had just met my friend Adam, and knowing that there was a group of individuals that, in a sense, were going through the same thing in life, and it's like, well, why don't we come out here and try to connect you with them and see something different for a while.
In Atlanta, David helped Nico to recenter his focus and find community. And Nico only brought what he saw was essential on his trip from Arizona to Atlanta. Nico would spend the time in Atlanta connecting with friends from church and finding his footing after leaving high school. After leaving Atlanta, Nico pursued the JUCO scene. Pima Community College was a top-rated basketball program. After receiving a crushing defeat in 2019, Pima was ready to come back strong. At tryouts, Nico was out of pace and maybe just not ready yet. This would be the first of many hurdles to overcome. Nico would make the roster for Mesa Community College in 2020. A few weeks later, after making the roster, his season would be canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So the world shuts down, man. Like, I don't get that opportunity. I don't get to show that I'm ready.
Nico did the next thing anybody would.
As silly as it sounded, with zero film, zero opportunity, zero ways to getting to the next level, I was like, well, I guess it's time to turn pro.
After spending the pandemic running games with NBA players at public gyms or working on dribbling until late night at outside courts, Nico felt ready. Nico attended combines and open workouts for professional leagues. His size once again would hold him back. On paper, he measured 5'6" and 150 pounds. League organizers placed him on teams with other smaller players, quote-unquote giving them a chance and not turning them away. Nico worked out for the Eastern Canadian Basketball League. This would be the league's inaugural season. Nico made it. Overcoming adversity, he finally got his break. But something seemed off. The league did not provide travel plan, work visa, or dates to arrive. Nico made the decision to chase his dream, as this was as close as the opportunity he might get, and it might not come again. Now in Canada, questions began to flood into Nico's mind. The players lived the first month in a hotel, sharing rooms. After that month, the team lived at the dorms of a nearby community college. Nico describes how he felt putting on his first pro jersey.
We're all warming up. We got the jerseys, and the jerseys even went where they advertised. They advertised this a whole year in advance. They had these Adidas jerseys, and then they throw us these nothings. I'm like, damn.
After going 12-13, halfway through the season, the ABL announced that they would be shutting down. Nico is now assigned to the Emerald City Jaguars of the Basketball League, or the TBL, in Eugene, Oregon. Nico has hopes to parlay this to a bigger plan down the road. Nico is still chasing his dream, and his dream is still letting him chase it.
So to be able to be here, man, and continually pursuing this, like, it was silly and it was crazy when I didn't have no college film and I was wanting to go pro. It was crazy when I was 5'6", getting on a plane to go play pro in Canada. But the craziest part to me is that basketball ever came back. The fact that basketball would ever love me enough and ever care enough about the work I put in, considering that I said, not right now. And I know basketball is not a real thing. People don't, like, people and objects don't act the same way. But, like, I'm living my dream. Like, yeah, I did not get to play for the U of A. I don't get to hear Bear Down, Arizona after we win a basketball game. And that is going to hurt for a long time. Like, I'll never get over that, because that was the dream, is to hear the claps and to hear how loud it gets in McHale Center. But I get a version of that. Like, the kid in me would have accepted that that would have ended no matter what. If there was only a short amount of time, I could have been a Wildcat. So now it accepts that, wow, like, I get to live this life outside of it. I get to go see the world. Like, I would have never been to Halifax or Truro, Nova Scotia without basketball. And I am blessed with the people I met, with the opportunities I felt out there, with the fans that put their faith in me. And they reminded me of being a kid where, like, if the Wildcats didn't win, it affected my whole day. And I'm hoping one day that I can be on a team where it feels like that, where it feels like all the fans are like, yo, we need you to win. Because that's the life I live, is I live like a fan of, like, I'm going to live because somebody needs to go to work happy tomorrow. And I'm going to work my ass off for that reason. You know, all of it comes from so many different reasons, but it all stems from that decision that I made to kind of just put faith in myself back in the day to choose what I wanted. And from there, I have chose what I wanted. And at the time, I didn't want basketball. And it's crazy to think that it wants me back now. And nothing else on this part of the story that I could really add, but basketball-wise, that's pretty much it.
Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be back with another great story soon.